This is Backstage Bay Area. Now, here's your host, Steve Roby.
Welcome, everyone. This is Backstage Bay Area, and I'm Steve Roby. My guest today is a saxophonist and composer who has made history in the jazz world. She was the first female instrumentalist and the first South American musician to win the prestigious Thelonious Monk International Jazz Saxophone Competition. Since then, she has become one of the most respected voices in modern jazz, earning a Grammy nomination for her album Visions and co-founding the all-star collective Artemis. She's here to talk about her Blue Note release, Echoes of the Inner Prophet, and her upcoming performance at SF Jazz. She joins us now. Welcome, Melissa. It's such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Hola, Steve. Thank you for having me.
All right. Hey, before we get started, I wanted to congratulate you on the full-page feature in the current issue of Downbeat. That must have been quite an experience.
You know, I'm not sure. Are you talking about the blindfold test?
Yeah, the blindfold test. You sat down with some university students, and tell us about that.
Yeah, well, I did it with Ashley Ken, who is a friend of mine too, and I have respect and know for a long time. So I was just really excited to get to spend time with him and talk about music, and also to be able to share the experience with the students, you know. It was a lot of fun. And he always picked great recordings. It's always a learning experience to do these kind of things with him.
All right. It was a fun read, and it was a little bit of excitement when I saw it on the thing. Hey, so I'm going to interview her today, and it was like, wow, there it is. Very cool. Yeah. Melissa, I want to go back to the beginning for a moment. You were born in Santiago, Chile, in a deeply musical family. Both your father and grandfather were saxophonists. I understand you started on alto, but there was a specific moment when you heard Sonny Rollins music and switched to tenor. Can you tell us about that spark moment?
You know, now that I think about it, I was so young. I was just 12 years old.
Wow.
When I heard him for the first time, I could relate to the sound of his tenor.
Mm.
Back then I was learning alto and was mostly about like what my dad was showing me. And so we transcribed so much Charlie Parker, Cannonball. And when I heard Sonny, he was kind of like the first tenor player. I was like, oh, wow, I just want to sound like him. I love what he's playing. And to this day, it's like every time I hear his sound and just him playing, it changed my mood. It brings me back home.
Wow. What was it about Sonny's sound that made you realize that is my voice?
You know, there is something mystical about all of this because it's very intuitive. And I can't explain why, but to this day, it's like I just have a very deep attachment to the tenor specifically, to the sound of the tenor. And it just feels like it's part of me, part of my personality. It's just very intuitive. Yeah.
Well, let's jump ahead now. Your latest album, Echoes of the Inner Prophet, feels like a deeply personal statement. You describe the inner prophet as your own self, older, with the knowledge and intuition to know your path. Musically, how does this record differ from your previous work, such as Visions?
I'm in a part of my life. I'm 37 right now, where, you know, I'm still like and I think that this is the journey of being a human being, going deeper into who you are. And so when I see that with with music, my whole life, the biggest part of my process has been transcribing, imitating somebody. But not imitating the lick, but actually the emotional component of how somebody plays. Like, why do you hear Sonny and one note that you know that is him, you know? So I'm trying to transcribe the frequency and every single detail that is into that. And I spent years on Sonny Rollins, and I was in love with Michael Brecker. And I just kind of have affairs with different saxophone players. And the process of, it gets to a moment where you're like, okay, I transcribed so many Sonny Rollins solo, and there is so much more to learn, but I'm not really challenging myself anymore, because it kind of, you just listen to somebody so much that you kind of absorb things in ways that you can't really, I can't write it down, but I know what is the spirit of Sonny. And when those musical crises comes, for me, usually, okay, I'm going to stop listening to Sonny for a while, or Mark Tanner. It feels like it's like a grief. You lose somebody in your life. And and transcribing has been one of my biggest motivations. I love to do it. So as important as the process of learning from that, it's very important the process of letting it go, and accept how you sound, Okay, I don't like this about my playing. I don't like this about my playing. And you start listening in a way where you start embracing what you're listening, rather than trying to run away by imitating somebody else. And so the process of let go also I see very much attached to the process of growing up, and finding a sense of self, feeling comfortable under your own skin, which is something learning, not feeling bad about, oh, you did this, you did that, So I can see the parallel with music. And actually music has taught me so much about what it means to be a better human being,
Wow.
You can go, I don't think that you can go deeper if you don't do the personal work. They're very, very much together, and Wayne, Kirby, they're the greatest examples of that.
Yeah. I've heard many musicians say that music is like a healing force. It's hard to describe, but it certainly has an impact on people.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about the idea of sound, what is sound? Is a frequency, what is that frequency? Why when you hear train, you can hear everything, you can hear him. So that is my search in every album that I'm doing. How can I go deeper into what I already know and what I need to let go in order to become a better musician? So the use of space, the use of let your ego at home and just play the music, whatever that is something that is reflected on every album, and that is kind of like the theme of, it's not necessarily about the albums, it's more about how can I become a better musician so I can portray that this is where I am right now, and then in 2 years, this is where I am right now.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into some of your music. You brought by a few tracks for us to hear today. The first is titled Unconscious Whispers. This title suggests things bubbling just below the surface. Could you set the stage for us on this track? What is the narrative or backstory behind this composition?
Unconscious Whispers, on a personal level, talks about all those inner voices, all those different aspects of oneself, your shadows, your lights, and how listening to those whispers is a very important part of the process to get in touch with the inner prophet. So yeah.
Okay. Well, let's give it a listen to. This is Unconscious Whispers by Melissa Aldana, and you're listening to Backstage Bay Area. This is Backstage Bay Area. We just heard Unconscious Whispers by Melissa Aldana. It's from her album Echoes of the Inner Prophet, which is available now. Melissa, let's look ahead now. We've only got a few days left of 2025. And as we move quickly through the rest of the year and look forward to 2026, I'm curious what's on your musical horizon for you. Downbeat, as we mentioned earlier, briefly mentioned an upcoming album titled, and I hope I got it right, Filin, featuring
Feeling.
How do you say it?
Feeling.
Filin.
Yeah.
Okay. Featuring Central and South American ballads. Can you provide us the details, if you can, and let us know when we might expect it?
Yeah. Actually, I'm really so excited about this album. It's an album that was produced by Don Was with Gonzalo Rubalcaba, Kush Abadi, Peter Washington, and Cecile McLaurin-Salvant, and a few songs. And just to give you, this is gonna be out in February.
Oh, real close, yeah.
And we're gonna have the first single rolling out. That's in the middle of January. But the Feeling album is feeling is the Cuban way to express the word feeling. You know, when you feel something.
Okay.
And there was a time period in Cuba during the 40s and 60s that had a lot of incredible singer-songwriters and musicians that were inspired by the American songbook and boleros. And so when I started thinking about this album and I talked to Gonzalo, he proposed it for me to check this time period, and I just fell in love with the music.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea was to do a ballads album from the American songbook. But somehow it became a completely different thing, and it completely opened up my mind to music that I never heard before, but I did have a connection somehow.
Can you tell us what the first single is coming in January?
Yeah, I think that the first... Oh, when?
Yeah, the title.
I think that is No Te Empeñes Más, and it's a song with Cecile McLaurin-Salvant. I'm pretty sure it's that one, or it's another one that may be called La Sentencia. I can't quite remember right now.
I'm sure you'll let us know, like on social media, what's coming.
Oh, it will be all over social media.
Okay, great. Hey, well, let's set up the second selection of music. This is the title track of the current album, Echoes of the Inner Prophet. I know this record honors the late Wayne Shorter, who was a judge when you won the Monk competition. Wayne was a master of using space and painting with sound.
Yeah.
When we listen to this track, what should we listen for in terms of that influence or the specific energy you wanted to capture?
I would say it's a song that is very completed. What is the word in
Complicated?
No. That makes you contemplate something, you know?
Yeah, okay.
Reflect on something.
Uh-huh.
And the idea that I had when I was writing this song is just like a boat in the middle of the ocean, and there's nothing around, and you're just contemplating your life and listening to what is going around.
Mm-hmm. Was there a specific moment that made you want to write this track? Or?
I can't remember the exact crisis I was going through. I was definitely going through one, as usual. But also remember, I always been a huge fan of Wayne, but more and more as I grown older, I think I have the capacity to understand things on a deeper level, and I really admire his whole frame of work.
Oh, yeah.
So this album is like the use of space and the thought of how can you use sound as an emotional tool to tell you an experience or to give you a glimpse of who am I and what I'm going through at the moment. Whatever that means is something that I try to portray from my influences from Wayne in that album.
All right.
And in the next one as well.
Well, let's play it now. This is Echoes of the Inner Prophet by Melissa Aldana, and you're listening to Backstage Bay Area. That was the title track from Melissa Aldana's latest release on Blue Note Records. Melissa is my guest today. Melissa, you're heading out our way to San Francisco on Saturday, January 17th to play Minor Auditorium at the SF Jazz Center. This is part of the Upswing series curated by Terrence Blanchard and is a special double bill. You'll be sharing the evening with a Bay Area native and fellow Grammy winner, the incredible Taylor Eggstee. First, please tell us about the band you're bringing to the show.
I'm bringing my current band. I've been working with these guys for a long time, with Glenn Zaleski, Pablo Menares, and Kush Abadi.
And for the audience at Minor Auditorium, what kind of energy can they expect at the show?
You know, I'm gonna be playing music from our latest album, some new music as well that I've been working on, and like a few tunes from the new album. But I will say, like, more the expectations. We just want to go there and have fun, you know, and have an experience with the audience, whatever that means, whatever we are all at the moment. Like, how can we connect through music together?
It sounds like a fantastic evening of music. I'm curious, have you ever crossed paths with Taylor Eggstee before?
Yeah, and actually he's somebody I look up to for many, many years. So it's quite of an honor to be able to share the stage with him.
Yeah, that should be quite a night of music. And let me remind our listeners, you can catch Melissa Aldana live on Saturday, January 17th at SF Jazz's Minor Auditorium. She is performing as part of a double bill with pianist Taylor Eggstee. The show starts at 7:30 p.m., and you can purchase tickets right now and get more information by going to sfjazz.org. And there'll be a link to the show in the podcast show notes for this episode. Melissa, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you, me too, David. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward, hopefully, meeting you at the SF Jazz.
Absolutely. I look forward to it too. I'm Steve Roby. Thanks for listening and keeping jazz alive in the 415. Backstage Bay Area. We'll be right back.
Hey musicians, would you like to be a guest on Backstage Bay Area? Just email the host and let him know when you'll be playing in the Bay Area. The address is backstage.sfbay@gmail.com.
This has been Backstage Bay Area, your all-access pass to the local jazz scene. I'm Steve Roby. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you at the show.